Yo, my bad, y'all. Shit, MacBook is didn't want to do what it's told to do. Give me one moment. Let me see. All right, all right, all right. Let's see who we got. Illmatic, John Walker, Shogun. What's happening? Good evening. Good evening. Let me see. Okay, we're good. A lot to unpack tonight and go over. So, without further ado, let me read the spiel, the shtick, real quick. Where is it? Where is it? All right, all right, all right. Here we go. Okay, so now you are tuned in to another episode of the Morning Star Show featuring Super Slot 75. I want to give a shout out to our producer extraordinaire Cindy Ashby. You can always find us on www.onthewakeupradio.com. We're on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, and now iHeartRadio for replays. Also, please feel free to donate any amounts, which will go to the website and airtime. It's a labor of love, but we still live in a costly world. If you appreciate the free content, please feel free to help keep the message uncensored and free. You can always donate through PayPal at onthewakeupradio@gmail.com. You can find me under YouTube under SuperSlot75, and my backup channel is Heavily Flawed Individual. Merchandise is always available at teespring.com/SuperSlot75. Tonight's breakdown is brought to you thanks to a very generous donation by Alex. Don't want to say your last name out of respect. So tonight we thank Alex for this breakdown, because I got a lot to unpack, and I mean a lot. So let me get everything ready to roll. Pew. Pew, pew, pew. Pew, pew, pew. All right. Okay. So now, Pamela, hey, Hurricane, what's happening? Okay, so the first movie is actually it's an oldie. Actually, this is my first time I watched it. I heard about it. First time I ever watched it. Interesting. It's by George Lucas. It's George Lucas's first film ever. It is THX-1138. This is the movie that Spielberg funded for George Lucas. And so there's some meanings behind these acronyms, not even acronyms, but like these code letters, these code names, because it's a very dystopian future. It's a weird one. So break down for the names real quick. So the main character played by Robert Duvall, he goes by THX. THX stands for sex. His roommate is Love, stands for love. Okay, so they're connected via sex and love after refusing to take the government mandated mind altering drugs. There's the bad guy played by Donald Pleasance. His name is Sin. It actually stands for sin. There's the one prisoner that Sin meets in prison is SRT. That's Sartre, the philosopher. There's another prisoner, NCH, and his stands for Nietzsche. And then the last one is PTO, is Plato. So PTO, NCH, SRT, and Sin are pretty much all prisoners, but we'll get it'll get to that in a minute. So Johnny B. Good, what's happening? Genesis, hey. Faith, hey. SKC, I don't even know why you here, bro, because this content is not up your up your up your it's not your up your alley. This is not your thing, but whatever. So now it's a very dystopian future. They live underground. It's all under city. All right. So here we go. So then the opening scene, there's a 1478 oil painting by Hans Memling. It is the Christ giving his blessing. Opening scene is a black and white episode of Buck Rogers. A guard escorts a child to its room. There's a production line. They make androids. They're being built. THX is told to back off. His measurements are off. He's told to take 4-rod capsules. So what happens is there's this assembly line, and he places like the core reactor inside inside the brain of the android. But it's a very delicate and very tedious process. Okay, so now if one is not properly sedated, failure to do so may result in prosecution for criminal drug evasion. See, in this society, you have to take the drugs. If you don't take the drugs, it's a crime. Okay, there's a radiation overload and explosion on the production floor. There's a report of illegal sexual activity. So in this future, in this universe, sex is illegal. Contact to contact. All right. Neuron brain dendrites are for sale. A dendrite is basically an extension of a nerve cell. It receives stimulation for the cell to become active. It's a conductor of electrical messages to the neuron. Now, THX admits to sleeping on a thermal transfer at work. He's being tired because he stopped taking the drugs. He says his mate has been acting strange and that he feels different. He has a hard time concentrating. THX is taking a drug called etrazine. He wanted some Panural. Panural is like a diluted form of the pineal. It's like a liquid form of the pineal gland. And then at the apartment, THX is watching a virtual reality show of a naked black woman dancing, and it's like it's a visual, it's a hologram of a naked black woman dancing. Okay, so then they have a device that he uses to masturbate because, like I said, sex is forbidden. Okay, he flicks through the various virtual channels and begins to watch a guard beat up a worker with a bat. Law, his mate, stands against the wall. She has been swapping out his meds. Okay. THX tells Law he doesn't feel well. THX has a vomit spell. Law has to put him in bed. THX and Law have sex. That's illegal. Their actions are being observed on camera by staff. Law tells THX they know they've been watching us. There's a malfunctioning android walking into a wall. The next morning, THX and Lull bow down to a virtual prison. Well, I'm sorry. They bow down to a virtual person in a hooded cloak. Okay. THX has stopped taking his meds, which has sparked his libido for Lull. But it was Lull who stopped giving him his meds and his food. So it was the woman who did it. Lull tells THX if he goes back on sedation, he won't feel the same about her, and she'll be reported for drug violation. THX tells her he has a slip movement to perform at work, and he won't be able to make it the way he is now. He says he can't go on forever. She tells him he can do it without the etrazine. She says, let's leave after his next shift. Lull tells THX she's been giving a shift change. He tells her don't go. She says he's a G34 classification. So whoever ordered the shift change has the clearance to do so. All right. He tells her to file a report. She says she doesn't want to make trouble. She says you're going to get us in trouble. THX then asks Sin. So Sin, the bad guy, Donald Pleasance, he hacked into the system. He's the one that ordered her shift change. Okay. THX tells him he's in violation of living arrangements are set by computers. THX walks away. Sin tells him he ranked high in sanitation and that Lull said she felt they were no longer compatible. It was just a lie. Okay. Sin shows up at THX's workspace. Sin tells THX Lull has been transferred to area 5450. Okay, THX is told to retract something is touching the TTO integrates modules. He's told to switch tools, and if he needs a stronger pill, THX is told he's getting the Talmud contact. And the THX admits a work violation against Sin for illegal programming. THX then enters a critical phase as his eyes begin to roll back into his head. He's basically spazzing out because he's not on the drugs. All right. He's suffering severe sedation depletion. A nuclear rod is misplaced and creates a radiation overload. THX is then escorted to a research cell pending trial. A mind lock was performed in THX's cell. THX then is convicted of drug evasion, sexual perversion, and he's to be continued and held into detention. So these are all crimes. All right. THX is then pronounced incurable. He has a psychotic break and is in custody. THX undergoes conditioning reinforced medication under observation. THX then has more psychotic breaks. Lull is allowed to visit THX and they immediately have sex. Okay. Lull is then taken away. Before they take her away, she tells him she's pregnant. It's a big no-no. Later, Sin runs into THX and says he knows he turned him in. Sin tells THX to stay out of things he doesn't understand. Sin and THX then find an exit out of the prison because they're all in prison at this point. This is where they meet Nietzsche, Sarda, Plato. Okay. They meet one of the virtual actors, SRT. SRT is a brother. SRT in the very beginning was one of the virtual performers on the video channel that THX was watching. It is a brief instant. It was brief. If you blinked, you missed it. Okay, so he's in prison. Okay, so during the confusion and the escape, THX and SRT make it to the control room when THX learns that Lull has been consumed and has been reassigned to fetus 66691 in a growth chamber. So basically, they reconstituted her. They broke her down. They broke her molecules down. Basically, they turned back into a fetus. So she's pretty much dead, and they killed the baby as well. Okay. Sin he's discovered by a monk, and that he has no ID tag. Sin beats the monk, and then finds himself amongst children, and then is picked up by the android police. THX and the brother SRT steal 2 cop cars. THX drives off, but SRT crashes into a pole, not even 10 feet. Okay. Androids on motorcycles chase THX through the city. Outside the city limits, he ditches the car and he's followed by the androids. THX enters a ventilation shaft. And then Central Command orders the pursuit to cease for budgetary reasons. It'll cost too much money to capture him at this point. The guards then try to convince THX the surface is uninhabitable. THX doesn't listen. He continues up the shaft anyway. THX arrives at the surface, revealing the entire city was underground. As he watches the sun setting, there's a bird that flies across the background. So this whole time, these people have been lied to by the government, saying you can't go up top because it's scorched earth, radiation poisoning, blah blah blah. And the whole time, there's life on the top side. So that was THX-1138. That was George Lucas's very first movie, happily funded by Steven Spielberg. Yeah. I mean, Okay. All right. Second breakdown. I like this one. I'm a fan of this one. For us old heads, Enemy Mine. Louis Gossett Jr., Dennis Quaid. Okay, so there's a lot going on with this. A lot of metaphors, a lot of symbolism with this one. Of course, you have the white savior. That's the first obvious thing, the white savior role. Okay. All right, so here we go. The Drax. Reg, I thought about you, Reg. Reg, I'm sorry. Brother, I broke it down for you, brother. I didn't forget you. All right, so the Drax, the race that Louis Gossett Jr. is playing. Okay, the Drax. Now, this is how deep this shit goes. The Drax were claiming squatters' rights to some of the most richest star systems of the planet. Now, walk with me. The Drax, the dragons, okay, these are black people. What group of people over the last couple of years have been claiming property by using squatters' rights? Okay, this is a very old movie, early 80s, and yet you have a melanated race of beings using squatters' rights to claim property. All right, let's go. So during a space battle, and also the Drax are reptilian. Okay, so during a space battle, Davidge, played by Quaid, cripples a Drax ship, but then he inadvertently crashes into the ship, killing his co-pilot, and they both crash on the planet. All right, they crash land on a hostile planet. It's called Furine 4. Davidge looks for the Drax pilot. His name is Jariba Shigan. That's played by Gossett, Lou Gossett Jr. Okay, Davidge plots to kill Jariba. A massive electrical storm hits. Jariba dives in a pool of water while Davidge empties his fuel and then sets the pond on fire, trying to kill Jariba, but is then electrocuted trying to steal supplies from Jariba's ship. Jariba has Davidge tied up. Okay. Davidge calls him Toad Face. Now, what do Aryans refer to black people as in prison? Toads. I'm not making this shit up. Okay. All right. Okay. Got that. Okay. Jariba feeds Davidge. A meteor storm arrives, then passes. Later that night, Davidge escapes his bonds and steals some food. Jariba catches him. They form an uneasy truce because they're on a hostile planet, because everything is deadly on this planet. Okay. They learn each other's language somewhat. Jariba even cracks a joke calling Davidge ugly. Davidge mentions the phrase, if at first you don't succeed, causing excitement in Jariba. Jariba says, you learned that from the great Drac teacher, Kisma. Davidge says, no, from Mickey Mouse. Jariba says, human give up too easy, and that Kisma teaches that intelligent life takes a stand. Davidge laughs and says, if it weren't for him, they wouldn't be there. They accuse each other of they accuse each other's races of starting the war, while hunting Davidge falls into a pit of one of the planet's most dangerous predators. Davidge's flesh is being ripped from his leg. Jariba shoots one of the creature's tentacles. The creature reveals itself. Then Jariba shoots it 3 more times, killing it. Okay. Davidge discusses discovers that the shells from the indigenous creatures can withstand the impact from meteor strikes. Davidge's injuries. Oh, I'm sorry. Davidge inquires about learning the Drac language. Jariba gives Davidge a miniature version of the Talma. It's called the Talma. Years go by. There's a passage Davidge reads and says, there's a similar passage in the human Talmud. Jariba says, of course you have. Truth is truth. Let me see this. Wait. Okay, says, I received evil from another. Let no one do evil in return, or rather let him extend love to the enemy, that love might unite them. Jariba then begins to sing the words of the Talmud, almost like in Islam when you sing the deeds. You sing the hadiths. Okay. Jariba then begins to sing the words of the song. Another meteor shower hits. They begin fighting each other out of frustration. Davidge says they're beginning to go crazy and that they need somehow to get off the planet. Jariba decides to stay while Davidge leaves to go exploring the planet. He promises to come back with help. Okay, Davidge explores different parts of the planet. He finds a Pepsi can, different parts, and the skulls of a dead Drac. They're scavenger ships that strip mine the planets using Dracs for slave labor. So Davidge returns back to Jerry. Jerry tells Davidge that it's pregnant. Dracs are hermaphrodites and are pathogenic. so they can self reproduce. Later that night, they're attacked by another tentacle creature in their hut. They escape, but their shelter is destroyed, and they're in the middle of a blizzard. Oh shit! They stumble into a cave. Jerry teaches Davidge his Jariba language, and Davidge in return teaches Jerry his lineage. Jerry's lineage goes back 170 generations. Jerry begins to have contractions. Jerry says something is wrong. Jerry says this is why humans are alone within themselves, because they have separated them sexes into two separate halves, which is why they have joy during their brief union of sex. Jerry then tells Davidge he must stand beside Zamis in front of the Holy Council and recite his lineage. Okay? Davidge swears to do so. Jerry dies during childbirth. Okay? Years go by, and Zamis is a preteen. Davidge tries to explain to Zamis the difference between Drax and humans. Davidge hears another scavenger ship and goes to see who's on it or what's on it. He sees they're using Drax again for slave labor. He then tries to explain the dangers of the scavengers. Davidge teaches Zamis to play football. Later, Zamis runs to the scavenger ship and sees the atrocities and begins to cry and gets nearly captured. Davidge shoots one of the captors in the neck with a bow and arrow. Before killing the second captor, Zamis gets in the way, and he then is shot. Okay, so they shoot Davidge. He's shot. They think he's dead. They snatch up Zamis. Okay. Later on at his funeral, Davidge's body is about to be shot into space. The workers attempt to take his talma that Jerry gave him. It's like a necklace with a mini talma on it. Davidge wakes up. They rush him to the hospital. Davidge has been missing for 3 years. His partner Will has recovered. So Davidge is recovered and is going back to Furine 4 to find Zamis. Okay. Davidge is asking the Drax slaves if they seen Zamis, because he went back to the planet. He stole a ship, went back to the planet. So now he can talk the language. So he's asking the slaves, the Drax, have they seen Zamis? Davidge then engages one of the captors and throws him down a grinder. The Drax tell Davidge where to find Zamis. Davidge disperses 3 more captors. Davidge then finds Zamis sleeping, but is then caught by Stubbs, the leader. He remembers he killed his brother. Davidge then escapes and begins to fight them off. Stubbs then threatens to throw Zamis off the tier. Davidge then engages Stubbs while Zamis falls into a smelting cart. Davidge then saves Zamis, then re-engages his fight with Stubbs. Other BTA force members, so basically Davidge's crew, they show up. They arrive on a planet. Stubbs is then shot in the back by an old Drax slave. Zamis and Davidge are then reunited. The Drax are freed. Later, Davidge takes Zamis to Draco to recite the Jariba lineage in front of the Holy Council. Then, in later time, when Zamis brought his own children before the council, Davidge's name was added to the Jariba line. Man. I know it was a short review, but that movie is so fucking deep. So many tropes in this particular movie. I think it came out in 1983, I believe. Yeah, Enemy Mine, y'all. I remember it was a lot of brouhaha over this movie when it first came out. It was a really big deal. Because Louis Gossett Jr. was a big star at the time. So was Dennis Quaid. This was a big deal. And then, of course, him playing the alien, but yeah, the white savior role is all imprinted all over this. So I still liked it even to this day. I get to appreciate these movies as I watch them as I'm older now. I can see so many different things I can pick out. So that was Enemy Mine. Yeah. All right. Now, before I get into Castlevania Season 3, there's one important episode from season 2 that I must go over. Okay. I mean, for those that have been watching the series, you know what happens. But there's a conversation between the priest and Lisa. Lisa is was Vlad's wife, Lisa Tepish. Okay. Let me find it. Okay, here we go. So before I get to season 2, episode 1, the bishop accuses Lisa of using Satan's tools. They deem her mini centrifuge witchcraft. So the old lady set up Lisa. The old lady went to Lisa for help. Lisa gave her help, gave her some herbs. So as she's leaving, the bishop and his crew walk up. Okay. And then Bishop asks, how can agents of the devil be a physician's woman? So Lisa says it's ancient knowledge, sciences from older times lost in history. He looks at one of her books and deems it paganism. Lisa says, no, it's just science. It has nothing to do with any god. And then the bishop looks at her and she's like, wait, no, I didn't mean it like that. And he says, nothing to do with God. So then Lisa stammers, saying she didn't mean to say it that way. The bishop says to take her to the cathedral. There will be an inquisition after she's been interred. So then they burn her at the stake as a witch. Dracula returns from a trip, finds out, he runs into the old lady because of how he goes back to the house. The house is burned down. There's the old lady with the flowers saying, you know, what they did to her was a shame. He's like, well, where is she? Where's my wife? That's when he finds out that humans killed her. And that's when Vlad calls his war council to go to war with the humans. Okay. So that all took place in season 2. Season 3 now, we got the remnants of the remaining of what happened in season 2. We have Cypher and Trevor. They're a couple. So they go across the lands killing creatures for money. We have Isaac, the brother, the Muslim, who Dracula saved, sent him through the portal mirror into Africa. And then we have Carmilla, one of the last generals from the war. And then we have, what's his name? Not Isaac, but Hector. Hector is now Camilla's slave at this point. But let's get into it. Okay. So Cypher and Trevor are an item. Carmilla and Hector make it back to Asteria. She reunites with her sisters. I'm gonna get into the vampire sisters. There's some more fuckery with this. Okay. The sisters are Striga, Morana, and Lenore. Morana is a black, or she's melanated. She's a melanated vampire. Okay. Cypher and Trevor arrive in Lindenfield and meet the judge. They meet the monk Prior Sala. Okay, Prior Sala is key. Prior's monks cult believes they'll resurrect Dracula. Okay, that's their whole get down, is to resurrect Dracula. Now we all know, we all played the Castlevania games. Every game you kill Dracula and he comes back in a sequel. So let's cut the bullshit. Dracula will return in this series without question. Okay, so then now we see Isaac. He makes his way out of Africa, marching to Europe with his little army of undead creatures. All right, he wants revenge on Hector and Camilla, mainly Hector, because he feels Hector basically turned on Dracula, which he kind of did. So okay, so then Isaac goes to a store. He gets a mirror. There's a certain mirror, like the mirror likes to be called Sir. Isaac wants revenge on Hector and wishes to fulfill Dracula's war against the humans. Isaac takes his ship to Genoa to find a transmission mirror. Okay, transmission mirror is what Dracula used to send him through to Africa. So it's a portal. Okay, you think the thought and you send a person through, where you go where you want to go, and the mirror takes you there. Okay, Carmilla wants to expand the territory of Styria. She wants Hector to create new creatures to replenish their army. Lenore takes up the task of converting Hector to Camilla's cause. Lenore is the sweet vampire chick. She's the nice one. Striga is the 6-foot manly. She's in charge of the armies. She's the manly looking vampire. Okay. Trevor meets court with Saint Germain. Saint Germain asks Prior to enter the priory church and works as a scribe and has knowledge of Dracula. Okay, so Saint Germain is looking for something. Prior has no interest in the church, for the church killed Dracula's wife. He grants Saint Germain invite or limited access. Prior tells Germain Dracula went to hell to be with his wife. Okay. Alucard, the son. He meets Sumi and Taka. They want his help to kill Cho. Cho, if you remember from season 2, was one of Dracula's generals in the war council. Cho is dead, but they don't know that. Okay, Cho was killed by Cypher. Remember she turned into a mist. Cypher hit her with the ice blast and broke the ice into a bunch of pieces, and that's how Cho got killed. But they don't know Cho's dead. They want him to teach them how to kill Cho. Okay, so episode 3, Cypher and Trevor have dinner with the judge. The judge tells them the night Lindenfeld was attacked by night creatures. The main creature escaped to the priory. It converted the people in the church. The monks then emerged from the church and claimed to have killed the creature. A priest later arrives and is taken into the priory. He asks for Trevor and Cypher's help. Isaac is on a ship. It's a Jamaican captain. It tells the captain his story. Isaac finds the human race worthless. Isaac explains why vampires cannot be forged masters. It requires a human connection. He takes a demon from hell and places it in a human body. The captain tells Isaac, if you wipe out all the humans, you wipe out the kindness, the gifts, and the jokes. He tells Isaac he can be a leader and teach those to be kinder. Lenore, back at the Asteria, Lenore begins the process of manipulating and converting Hector to Camilla's side. Okay. Episode 4, Alucard, Sumi, and Taka. Alucard has 2 little dolls crafted in the likeness of Trevor and Cypher because he's alone in the castle. Sumi asks about the device that can move the castle. Alucard tells Sumi Cypher melted it. Remember in season 2, Dracula could move the castle wherever he wanted to, because of the engine inside of it, but it got destroyed. Okay, Sumi and Taka were a part of Cho's honor guard. They escaped and tried to hunt her down. Alucard agrees to teach them magic. Striga, the manly vampire, and Lenore, not Lenore, I'm sorry, Striga and Morana, the black vampire, they're lesbians. So you got a black and white lesbian vampire couple. Okay. Saint Germain goes to the priory. He sees a massive upside down crucifix, possibly pointing down to a night creature tied up in the basement. Say as above, so below. So the crucifix is upside down, pointing down. All right. And then the creature on the bottom, crucifix pointed up. Okay. Saint Germain tells Prior his cult symbol is the alchemical symbol of sulfur. It's used to denote hell. Cypher and Trevor do recon on the priory. Lenore continues to psychologically break Hector. Isaac lands in Genoa and is greeted with hostility and has his night creatures slaughter the opposition. Okay, now we're in episode 4. Back at the priory, Saint Germain locates the portal in the basement. He's looking for the night corridor portal because he's looking for somebody in the portal. All right. Cypher and Trevor confront Saint Germain. He tells her what he's looking for is occult in nature. The sign of lead is an H, means transformation and redemption. Okay. They then refer to Christ as Yeshua. Alucard and Sumi and Taka, they playfully spar. Saint Germain tells them he lost someone in the infinite corridor and the portal is under the priory. We get to episode 5. Lenore takes Hector for a walk on a leash outside. She then gives him a nicer cell. and flirts with him and gives him a book on vampire magic. Cypher then tells Trevor they should help Saint Germain. Saint Germain has a vision of the infinite corridor. He sees a giant mechanical robot. He sees kids running in ancient Egypt. He then sees a ship resembling the space jockeys. Uh-huh. And then the space jockeys from Prometheus, the Alien franchise. He then sees an Aboriginal man. He then sees the image of a woman in a dimensional staircase, like Interstellar. She gives him the gem that helps him find the portal. Saint Germain then wakes up. Isaac then tells one of his night creatures and asks him about his human life. The creature says he was a philosopher. He was a scholar. This is a very deep conversation between the creature and Isaac. So the creature says he was a scholar in Athens. He was a philosopher, but then Christianity took over. It was a crime to question the creator of the divine. It was to be a philosopher was a sin, and sinners were hunted down into salvation. He was tortured in the church and gave up others to spare his life. He was killed anyways. He woke up in hell. He learned to like sin. He then thanks Isaac for his new second life. That was a very, very deep conversation. Okay. Episode 6. Sumi then asks Alucard, can the engine move the castle? Or can the engine that moved the castle be fixed? He says it can, but it will take some time. See, they have ulterior motives, Sumi and Taka, okay, which will come into play. Alucard says he has no desire to move the castle. Alucard shows them lightning and the Belmont Hall. Back at Lindenfeld, there's a boy running through the town. The judge tells him to stop running and gives him directions to a giant apple tree. And the boy runs off and follows his directions to go find the apple tree. We'll come back to this. Saint Germain finds a book containing a legion of demons. Germain then asks Prior, why is this book in a church? And there are pages missing about how to resurrect people from hell. The book was written by a forge master 200 years prior. We're back to Isaac. He then travels deeper into Genoa and meets an old former forge master named Miranda. She tells him of a magician that has enslaved the people and made them build a tower with a transmission mirror. Isaac decides to kill the magician to use the mirror to transport to Styria. Back at the priory, Germain heads downstairs and sees the night creature tied up, nailed in a crucifix position. Okay. Striga goes over battle plans. Sumi and Taka grow impatient with Alucard. Saint Germain wakes the creature up and runs into Prior Sala. Germain reveals what he saw to the judge, Cypher, and Trevor. The priory has been desecrated. They come up with a plan to help Germain get to the infinite corridor. The monks were under the night creature's mind control. Lenore explains her ring to Hector. The black is for the night and red is for the blood. It's a symbol for loyalty. She kisses his cheek and she tells him she likes him. The judge, Trevor, and Cypher march to the priory. Episode 9. Okay, so the families in Lindenfeld that all got the H's on their houses, they're all been firebombed. Okay, and then all their souls are harvested by the night creature in the priory. Isaac begins his assault on the tower in the village. The citizens have an energy crown of thorns around their heads. Third eye, with the third eye open. Okay, so then Sumi and Taka. Okay, Sumi, Taka, and Alucard have a threesome. Not just any old threesome. Alucard is bisexual. Fine, okay. So the night creature then opens a portal, and the demon legion enters. They come out of the portal for battle. Okay. Isaac's army of night creatures gets decimated by the hordes of zombified villagers. They begin to lock arms and form a giant ball of bodies known as Legion. If you played the video games of Castlevania, then you know what Legion is. Legion is like a huge ball of bodies. Okay, you have to play the video game to know what I'm talking about. Isaac rides to the tower. Isaac runs up the stairs to face the magician. Cypher and Trevor engage the Demon Legion back in Lindenfeld. Isaac then has to fight off the magician's crown of thorns. He breaks the spell and stabs the magician, killing him and breaking the hold on the villagers as the bodies begin to fall from the sky. It's an awesome scene. Okay. During sex, Lenore tells Hector, she tells him, like, say you belong to me. Okay. He tells her he belongs to her, thus giving her whatever remaining free will he has left. Once he tells her he'll be loyal to her, she slips a magical ring on his finger, causing him great pain and binding him to her. During the threesome, Sumi, Taka bind Alucard to the bed in a crucifix position with Silver, then attempt to stab and kill him. Trevor, Cypher, and Germain engage the night creature and Prior, and the portal opens up to hell, and we see Dracula holding Lisa in his arms. Okay. Episode 10. Isaac finds the teleportation mirror. As the Priory, then the night creature frees himself and summons its legion. Cypher, Trevor, and Germain commence battle. The creatures are dispatched, leaving only the giant night creature. Now, some of the creatures, there's one that resembles Cthulhu. There is one that resembles a Minotaur. There's a lion with 6 legs. There's a creature that looks like one of the angels from Eva, from Neon Genesis Evangelion. If you know what that series is, that there's one of those creatures that look like that. Okay, so then outside the Priory, Prior Sala meets the judge. He then stabs the judge. The judge then tells Prior the directions to the apple tree. He says, yeah, go ahead. Okay, you won. You want freedom. You want a clear path out of here. Here's the directions to the apple tree. Remember the apple tree. Remember the apple tree. Okay. So then Prior Sala runs off. Cypher then electrocutes the 4-legged lion and then joins Trevor. Trevor then breaks out his whip, the classic whip from the game series, along with his Morning Star, because that's what his mace is called, the Morning Star. We all know that, right? And then he begins to injure the creature. Saint Germain, and then jabs the jewel in one of the eyes of the night creature, and then he sees the female figure that he's looking for. The infinite corridor opens up. Saint Germain then closes the portal from the inside. He thanks them both, and he says he'll see them in hell. Okay, so then the portal closes up. Now, back at Alucard's place, before Sumi and Taka stab Alucard, they tell him he lied to them. Everybody lies to them. They'll find a way to move the castle and build their own empire. Then Alucard's sword slits their throats. Because remember, Alucard doesn't like magic, but he has a magical sword that he got from his father. Slices their throats and they die in bed. Okay. Then Cypher, Trevor, they escape to find the judge. The judge tells them the direction to the apple tree because he's dying from a stab wound from Prior. And he's telling them to burn his house down. While running, Sala finds the apple tree. He then falls into a pit of spikes, killing him. Apple tree. Cypher and Trevor find the pit with Sala's body in front of the apple tree. And then there's skeletons of small children in that very same pit. Remember the little boy that the judge told to stop running through the city, through the town? Okay. This is what the judge did. The judge, because he hates when children runs through his town, he purposely built this pit with spikes and purposely send these kids off to go look for the apple tree, and they fall into the fucking pit of spikes. This is what he does to children. Okay, so then they go back to the judge's house, and then they find the shoes of all the children that fell into the pit. So he would collect their shoes as a memento or as a trophy for all the little kids that fell into the pit because he told him to go because they were running into town. Back at the castle, Lenore brings Hector into the round table. Lenore has had the vampire magician craft them all slave rings to control Hector and his night creatures, because Hector is now loyal to Lenore. Camilla, Striga, and Morana each get rings. If Hector tries to take off the ring or run away, it will cause him great pain. Or if he tries to harm Lenore, it will cause him great pain. In exchange, Hector gets a comfy life. Lenore then tells Hector she made him into her pet. Alucard then puts Sumi and Taka's bodies on pikes outside of the castle. In series. Alex, I see you in the chat, brother. I got you tonight. That was Castlevania Season 3. Now, to me, this was a step back. Okay. First 2 seasons, steps forward. This one was a step back. Okay. We all know Dracula is he's coming back. He's going to return. So I'm looking forward to them. I'm looking forward to Vlad coming back, because really he was the only reason I even watched this series, because of him and his confliction and his struggle. Okay, that's pretty much it. But Castlevania season 3. All right. Okay. Now what's my next breakdown? Oh, you know what? Briefly, I'm gonna break down Self-Made. Now, technically, it was me. I was the first one that called this one The Color Purple 2. Okay, like I think 2 weeks ago, I said, "Yo, I watched Self-Made. I thought I was watching The Color Purple 2, the sequel." This could literally be a sequel to Color Purple 2. Seriously, this is how bad the movie was. I'm not gonna go in depth. I'm not gonna go crazy deep with it, but some points that I want per episode I want to bring out and mention. Okay, so now we all know Madam Walker didn't. Basic Annie, the Annie lady was her mentor. Showed her the ropes. She wasn't a mulatto. Okay, so now first things first, Casey Lemons was a producer. LeBron James, producer of this trash ass series. It was 4 episodes, like an hour long. Okay. So then you have this eventual setup with the light skin, the mulatto Annie versus the dark skin CJ, Madam Walker, and like a mock boxing ring. You know, there was this eternal struggle of light skin versus dark skin, which was, and then all these tropes about light skin, dark skin, things that they had Annie say, "Oh, you know, you'll never look like me," type of shit in this movie. This movie was disgusting. Not only that, but then the men were either cowards or just seriously emasculated, or just useless, or like sniveling gossip hounds. Garrett Morris played the daddy. He was CJ's dad, and he was like the snivelly old man, the gossipy old man. Blair Underwood played her husband. He was useless. Now, mind you, this guy was an ad exec. He was, you know, and she would never use none of his ideas. Okay, I'm gonna get into. I'm not gonna go crazy deep with it. Okay, so in episode 2, when Walker was talking to the ladies, that she was talking to the wives of all the prominent men at this function. She says, "Listen," she says, "most of y'all got degrees, and you're smarter than your husbands." I was floored. Because she was trying to get funding for her factory. And so she figured she appealed to the wives of these prominent men. And yeah, she said, "Most of y'all got degrees, and you're smarter than y'all's husbands." Okay. That was in episode 2. And then she continues to say, she says, "Many of us fear harm from our own husbands." So now you're propagating the domestic violence. So now you're insinuating that women just getting their asses whooped by their husbands on a regular. Insane. Okay. So let me continue. Let me continue on. Hold on. Give me one moment. One moment. Ah, damn it. Clipboard. Okay. There we go. Okay. So then she continues on her rant. Wives were complacent in wifely duties. Wallace wanted to compete with the men, basically. All right. I'm sorry, Walker. Walker tells the audience of men their wives are wasting their talents in the back. Now, mind you, she crashed the event. This is where what's his face? The I think it's not W. Du Bois, the other guy. What's the other mulatto hero guy? Washington, right? No, not Washington. Whatever the fuck his name is. So she's telling these women and all these people, this men and women, this in front of everybody, right? And then she says, and this is how you can truly uplift the race. I'm floored. Okay. So then Walker brags to Washington about how she pays her workers 4 times. Yeah, Booker T. I'm sorry, thank you, Booker T. Washington. She tells Washington how she pays her workers 4 times the rate of a washer. Booker T says you're going to have women out earning the men. Walker says we can all be uplifted. Washington says the Negro man must be uplifted first. I said, hot fucking damn. And then he says her outburst is the reason you ladies need to be kept in your place. So then Walker refers to everything as hers. The daddy, CJ's daddy, was like, you need to listen to what she's saying, what she's not saying. That's not y'all. She says everything is hers. Her this, her that. So the daddy was trying to put CJ up on game, right? Walker wanted to mortgage the house against the factory. CJ said no, it's his house, and what he says goes. Then it gets deeper. Oh, it gets deeper. It gets deeper. So then the wives come to her house, and they come together to fund the factory. Now, Lilia's husband, played by Tiffany Haddish. Let me just say this: Tiffany Haddish cannot act. Oh, she's a horrible. Don't even call her an actress. The scene where she's trying to convey the struggle of being a closeted lesbian to her mother, she cannot fucking act to save her life. Oh my god. Okay. So then Lilia's husband goes to start giving information to Addie. CJ is cheating on Walker with the mulatto chick. Her name is Dora. Episode 4. The factory's up and running. Walker suspects her son-in-law of being up to something. That's Lilia's husband. Walker tells CJ she wants to be bigger than Carnegie, Ford, and Rockefeller together. Walker has unresolved colorist issues from mixed women. Okay. CJ's dad, berates him for not having his own. He tells him Walker refers to everything as hers. The son-in-law makes copies of Walker's financial records to give to Annie. Annie. Okay. Dora's top rep, the Chicago branch. They take 5 of her top reps to forge an alliance, and they all go work for Annie. Okay. And then Walker meets with W.E.B. Du Bois. CJ is further relegated to the background. She rejected his Walker girl as an ad pitch. He had an ad pitch for a Walker girl, but she kept seeing a mixed chick ride on a bike. So that was her own little hang up, and that's kind of what prevented her from moving forward with his ad idea. Because this is what the guy does. He's an ad exec. That's what he does. He creates ads. Walker then leaves her top five sales agents left to work for Addie. That's when she learns they switch sides. Walker then learns CJ is sleeping with Dora. Walker taunts CJ saying, "What she make you feel like a man?" CJ responds, "I am a man, but you ain't no kind of woman. You don't cook for me anymore. You done forgot what a wife's supposed to do. You done forgot all about your husband. I'm a man, and Dora knows it. That's why I slept with her." I was like, oh my God. Wow. Okay. So then later on, Walker has a meeting with white investors, and then they have CJ show up drunk. So he ruined the meeting with the investors because he shows up drunk. Okay. So then the son-in-laws, basically Lelia has a full-blown lesbian relationship. Now, I can't make heads or tails of this. They say she never was gay. Then I heard I'm seeing other people saying no, it was confirmed that she was. I couldn't make heads or tails of it either way. Am I surprised they put this trope in there? No, I'm not. Was it necessary? Okay. So then the grandfather, played by Garrett Morris, he asks Lelia, he says, where your husband at, gal? She says, she don't know. She don't care. And the grandpa says, that's your problem. He snitched and he snitched and he's been sneaking around with Addie Monroe. Addie plans to publish Walker's recipe in the newspaper. So then it implies that Walker stole Addie's recipe. She confronts John coming out of Addie's apartment. She begins to dance at the thought of divorcing him. Walker is still haunted by the light-skinned Walker, the light-skinned Walker girl ad campaign, and finally throws water on the negative thought. Water's cleansing, purification. Okay. So then Walker makes plans to open a salon in Harlem. Lilia's girlfriend doesn't want to go to Harlem with her. Walker tells CJ to leave. Episode 4. Walker becomes a household name. She officially moves to Harlem. Lilia's salon is called the Dark Tower. How odd. Walker then passes out and is told her kidneys are failing and that she's dying. He wants her to go vegetarian and take a year off from work. Walker then tells Lilia she wants grandbabies. CJ then goes to New York to make her sign divorce papers. Walker wants assurance that no one else would use her name to sell her products. Lilia and her girlfriend make plans to move to Paris. Her girlfriend knows the daughter of Sonder Industries. They set up a meeting. Blah, 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 blah. Walker lives next to Rockefeller. Addie threatens to sue Walker over her hair formula. Now, this is their scene. This is a scene where CJ says, well, I made it better. Okay. Okay. CJ admits to giving the formula to Dora to give to Addie. CJ then gets tired of being known as Mr. Madam CJ Walker. They have makeup sex. And then Peaches, the girlfriend, is upset Lilia is procrastinating about moving to Paris. Walker catches Lilia and Peaches about to kiss. This is the scene where I was telling you about. They're trying to convey the emotion. And Tiffany Haddish is a horrible, horrible actress. Walker then tells Lilia all she wants is an heir. Lilia says, no, that's your dream, not mine. Walker tells her, you have to. Can't you see I'm dying? She comes clean to Lilia and that she needs a family to keep things going. She says, if you don't have a family, then what's it all worth? She makes Lilia promise to settle down and have a family. Let me just say this real quick. Octavia Spencer is the new Mammy. That's all she does is these mammy ass roles. What was the role that got her that put her on the map? The Help. That's pretty much propagated her to stardom. She's a real life. She's a mammy. She likes doing mammy movies. But okay. Wendy, a lot was left out in the series. Yeah, I get all that. I'm just going over the series. I don't care about the honestly. I don't care about the history. I'm just going over the series. That's all. I hear what you're saying though. Okay, so Ransom, uh, Walker's like right hand man, finds out Sweetness, his cousin Sweetness was killed by white supremacists. They attend his funeral. Addie and Walker have a face off. Walker finally signs divorce papers. Walker's sales agents are upset about her deal with Sonder pharmacies. They plan on going on strike. Walker finally meets with Rockefeller. He tells her, "Who cares what they want, and fire them if necessary." Okay. I mean, he's telling her how to survive the business, whatever. Walker agrees to let Lilia be gay. Lilia proposes that Fannie Mae will be the heir. Now, this little girl, Fannie Mae, whatever the name is, some little girl that Lilia met was doing something, and they hired her to do an ad campaign to be the face, whatever the case of the Walker girl, little dark skinned, long haired girl. She's a pretty girl. Okay, her family agrees to let Lilia take her on because her family is destitute and there's too many kids. Okay, yes, Octavia is the new Hattie McDaniel. Yeah, that is so true, so true. Oh, the role. Yeah, the movie Ma, that was horrible. Okay, so then Walker decides to pull out of her deal with Saunders Pharmacies to make everybody happy. There's your fucking series. That was, and then they go through the history and show the pictures and what happened to this person and that person. Blah blah. This was a disgusting fucking series, man. This is some shit you don't tell people to watch, but you have to watch it to kind of see what type of bullshit they put in this thing. This was disgusting. This is definitely the sequel to the Color Purple, without question. Hold on. Man, bear with me. Where is it? Okay. All right, so here we go. Is that 4? No. All right. So I kind of want to save. I want to say the Last Witch Hunter for last. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna jump to the platform. Netflix. Once again. Okay. All right. So here we go. The platform. Everyone's talking about it. We're gonna talk about it tonight. Okay. It's a Spanish film, subtitles and all that good stuff. Okay. Ryan, that's what's up. Okay, just get it to me, bro. When you take your time when you get it done. That's what's up. Okay, so opening scene, we have the head chef. We have the restaurant prepper preparing a 5-course meals. Then there's an old man. He tells the young man about 3 kinds of people: the ones above, the ones below, and the ones who fall. Now, the ones who fall that's a few meanings with that one. So now the ones who fall literally can mean the people that fall in this platform, and they fall from platform to platform, right? And then also those that fall, the fall of mankind, fall of humanity, or the fall of Lucifer per se. Okay. All right. So now we're at level 48. They're in the pit. Goran tries to introduce himself to the old man. The old man tells him to move back to the other side of the room. Trey Magasi, this is the old man. Trey Magasi is very, very important. He's like Obi-Wan Kenobi in this, okay? He is the Obi-Wan Kenobi. All right, so he tells him, don't pester the ones below, and the ones above won't answer because they're above. They'll be at level 48 for 1 month. As the table lowers with leftovers, the old man gorges himself with the remaining food. Trimagasi says at one point he was on level 8. He says this month we have plenty of Muslims and non-drinkers as he chugs a bottle of wine. Goran then grabs an apple for later, and as the table lowers, Trey Magasi spits on the food because he is above those below him. The temperature begins to increase because he kept the apple. You cannot hoard food. Okay. Where is it? Yes. Okay. I kept the apple. The food is it's for them to eat, not to keep. Okay. So either they will freeze you or they'll turn up the heat on you. Okay. So then there's a flashback to Goran being told he can't get out until the agreed upon time. He agreed because he wanted to quit smoking and read Don Quixote. 6 months in exchange for an accreditation degree. Trey Magasi wonders why he also isn't getting a degree. The next day, Goran refuses to eat. Trey Magasi tells him he saw a knife ad called the Samurai Max. So we're getting to Trey Magasi's backstory, kind of, sort of, right? Trey Magasi says it's the little things that matter. He bought the knife. He then saw another ad for another knife that didn't need sharpening. He was so upset about what he thought he missed out on that with the new knife, that he took his TV, throws it out the window, and strikes and kills an illegal immigrant. It was either the pit or a mental institution. And there's roughly, we think there's roughly 132 levels in this movie initially. Goran wants to start a chain message to the ones above to ration the food for the ones below. Trimagasi calls him a communist. Goran asks, then yells to those above, piss on the ones. Okay, I'm sorry. Goran asks, then he yells to the ones below, and then then he pisses on the food. Oh shit! Wait, I just messed it all up. I messed it all up. Okay, so then Trimagasi pisses on the food, right? And Goran's like, well, why'd you do that? He said, well, because we're above, and those above us will do the same thing. Okay. So then next month, they'll be above and piss on them. Goran then asks Trimagasi, which item did they let you have? Of course, Trimagasi pulls out the knife, the Samurai Max Plus knife. The next day, Goran decides to eat. After lunch, a body falls down through the platform. Trimagasi says the upper levels, you can eat whatever you want. You don't have to wait, but the mind runs wild. Trimagasi tells him he's been to levels 72, 26, 38, 43, 11, 79, 38, and 132. So he's been locked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, roughly 8 months. Okay. Goran then asks, who was he with? Goran concludes Trimagasi ate his cellmate on level 132. Lunch comes and there's a woman sitting on the table. Trimagasi tells Goran to pay her no mind. She's looking for her son, or her child, rather. In the pit, you're free to do whatever you want. Trimagasi tells Goran every month the woman kills her cellmate to free up space in case she sees her child. Okay? Trimagasi says he didn't kill anyone. His cellie completed his time in the pit. He says they ate human flesh, but they didn't kill anyone. As the table lowers itself, the ones below begin to attack the woman. She kills them both, then gets back on the table as it lowers it further down. Days go by, and Goran becomes institutionalized. Trimagasi asks Goran if he believes in God. Tree tells them they'll be gassed and put to sleep and wake up on a different level with a new cellie. Trimagasi tells Goran he'll have 2 months left and that Goran has a big heart. Trimagasi says this month he believes in God. Goran then wakes up tied to the bed on level 171 with Trimagasi. Trimagasi tells Goran hunger will drive you mad. It's best to eat than be eaten. Another body falls. Trimagasi will pretend he's snail that needs impurities purged. The table lowers and it's completely empty of food. Trimagasi says after 8 days, he'll begin to cut strips of his flesh off, and he'll even feed himself strips of himself if needs be. 8 days have come and gone. Now, mind you, he's been tied up in this bed for 8 days, pissing and shitting on himself, purifying. He's being purified, okay? So then Trimagasi says he's been purged and that he'll save his genitals for later. Oh my God. He begins to cut a strip of it from his thigh. As the table lowers itself down, the woman is sitting on top of the table. She then jumps off the table and hits Trimagasi over the head with a champagne bottle. She then grabs his knife and stabs him in the throat. She frees Goran and hands him the knife. And then he finishes off Trimagasi. He kills Trimagasi. Okay. So then Goran wakes up to the woman eating Trimagasi's flesh. She feeds Goran a piece of Trimagasi's dead body. In the kitchen, way up top, the old man, the chef that runs the kitchen is upset. He finds a strand of hair in the pastry dish, and he summons 4 chefs and tries to match the hair to whatever chef it belongs to. Now, back down in the pit, maggots begin to fill Trimagasi's rotting body. Goran has an illusion of a conversation with Trimagasi. The next day, Goran wakes up on level 33. He meets Imogili and her dog Ramses II. Goran then asks, how does she know Ramses his name? Now, Imogili in the flashback scene was the woman interviewing Goran when he first applied for the pit. Okay. Imogili tells Goran there's 200 levels, so we think. She tells Goran he's here to create spontaneous solidarity. The next day at lunch, Imogili makes a plate for Ramses II. She alternates eating days with the dog. So one day she eats, the next day the dog eats. Okay. Goran tells Imogili there's a child here. Imogili says, no, there's no children under 16 allowed here. Imogili then tries to tell those below only eat what they need. Okay. So what she does is she'll fix 2 plates for those below, and that's their portion. And they're supposed to ration it out for everybody as it goes further down, for the people that's further down. Okay. She used to work for the administration for 25 years. 15 days later, Goran threatens to shit on the food if they don't follow Imogili's instructions. Emo wants to try to convince those above them to do the same thing. The next day, the lady rides the table, is badly injured. She tells Imogili she's looking for her child. The room begins to get cold because the dog stole a piece of food. Okay. Now, later that night, the table lady gutted the dog. She killed Imogili's dog. The lady gets back on the table. Imogili tells Goran the lady is an actress. She has no children and came on her own. Now, the lady on the table, her name is Miharami. Miharami means to open one's eyes wide. Okay. Emo says she doesn't care anymore, and she shows Goran the cancer that's on her breast. Her cancer is really bad. She calls him an idiot for bringing a book. In the kitchen, escargot is being prepared. In the questionnaire, Imogili had asked Goran, what's your favorite food? He said it's escargot. Okay. It's the last day, and Imogili refuses to eat because it was the day for her dog to eat. Goran then wakes up at level 202, and Emo has hung herself and begins to hallucinate. Emo says, eat my flesh, drink of my blood. Goran counts the days, and they finally begin to eat, and he finally begins to eat Imogili's flesh. 30 days later, Goran wakes up on level 6 with a brother named Baharat, who plans on escaping. Okay, Baharat is something special. All right, so the ones above, they mock Baharat's faith, and he throws a rope up They catch the rope. He's like trying to climb up. As he climbs up the rope, the woman above shits on his face and he falls down to the ground. Goran has another hallucination of Trimagasi. He says 45 days left. Goran then asks Baharat to help him get down, to make weapons, and to ride the platform down to arm those below on each lower level, and to get food to the lower levels. Goran believes there's 250 levels, and they decide to ride the platform all the way down to the very last floor. As they go down, Goran tells the first 50 people they cannot eat. Okay, they'll be okay. They meet Baharat's mentor, and the old man in the wheelchair tells them there's a better way. He says to send a message to those at level 0, a symbol. He says to send back a beautifully prepared dish, then they'll understand. So they agree to protect the dish, the paracotta. The paracotta will be the message when the platform goes back up at night. They're gonna send the paracotta with it untouched as their message. Okay. Now this is the same paracotta in the flashback that the old chef was upset about that had a strand of hair on it. Okay. All right. So then they make it down to level 98. They meet an elderly man and a retarded man. The retarded man threatens to smother the old man with a pillow, then cut him open and eat the paracotta. So needless to say, they beat his ass. So on their way down, they're just beating everybody upside the head, whoever tries to steal the food or whatever the case may be, okay? Goran and Baharat fight off 2 cannibals. They come across the 2 cannibals. They're attacking. They're actually, one of them is eating the Maharasi, the Asian, the table lady, right? She's being attacked. She's being eaten. They engage the cannibals. Barat's badly injured. The lady that was killed was the table writing lady. She's dead. They finally reach the last level, 333. Okay. This is what everybody missed. There's 333 levels. Okay. There's 2 people per level. What number does that give you? Once again, math. Today's math. There's 333 levels. There's 2 people per level. What number do you get? 666. The very last level, Baharat dies from his injuries. Goran finds the Asian lady's kid hiding underneath a bench. The platform descends even further, leaving them with the little girl and the panna cotta. They feed the girl the panna cotta. The platform rises up. Baharat tells Goran the little girl is the message before he dies. He says the little girl is the message, not the food. Baharat dies from his injuries. Goran and the little girl ride the platform even further down, all the way down to the very last floor. Okay. Trimagasi tells Goran the message doesn't need a bearer. Goran gets off the table and walks with Trimagasi. So at this point, he's dead. So he too also died from his injuries. So Goran walks off with Trimagasi, like in the force, because he's dead. He got off the platform. That was his death. And so then the table rises up to the very top with the little girl on top of it. End scene. Wow. That was the platform. Holy shnikey. All right. Okay. Now we're getting into the creme de la creme, the crux of the reason why we're all here. Once again, generous donation made by Alex. I won't say your last name out of respect. The Last Witch Hunter. Alex, don't worry. I'm working on species as well. I didn't want to give you 2 for 1. I want to kind of stretch it out. So next week I'll do species. But tonight, Last Witch Hunter. Okay. Last Witch Hunter, Vin Diesel. I can't believe I didn't go see this at the movies. I really missed a good little gem. This was a good little gem of a movie. A good little movie. All right. The Last Witch Hunter. All right, here we go. You ready? Calder, played by Vin Diesel, and the witch hunters track down the witch queen within a plague tree. They are seeking revenge on her for releasing the Black Plague. They confront the queen, and one by one, the witch hunters are killed by her or her minions. They're accompanied by a Dolan. A Dolan is a priest. Calder has hallucinations of his daughter and wife. They're dead. They die from the Black Plague. Before his encounter with the queen, she gets the drop on Calder and ties him up. She says they breed like rats. You put stone on top of stone and then live in your own filth. You are trespassers on our world, which is why every one of you must perish. So that's the queen's motivation. She says, this is why I created the plague. Calder is then able to retrieve his flaming sword. It's called the Hexenbane. The name of Vin Diesel's sword is called the Hexenbane, or aka the Witch Slayer. Then sets the plague tree on fire. Well, before he strikes the sword, he says, by fire and iron, strikes the sword. It lights up on flames, and then he sets the plague tree on fire. Calder stabs the queen. She's able to, before he gives her the killing blow, she punches a hole in his chest, grabs his heart, and she says, I curse you with life. So now he's immortal. Okay? And which layer? She says, I curse you with life, to never know peace, to walk the earth alone for eternity. You will never die before she turns into embers. Okay? Fast forward 800 years later. 800 years later. So he's roughly about he's like 830, 840 years old at this point. Calder's flying on an airplane. During a very bad thunderstorm. He blows on the window to reveal a sigil. And he says magic. He places a staple in a cup of water and follows it to the direction of the staple. So he places the staple in the cup of water. He follows like a compass, and it leads him to a female passenger. It's a girl in another section of the plane. He then pours water on the guy sitting next to her. He gets up out of the seat. He sits down next to her. She then calls him the witch hunter. She hands him a bag of runes. They can manipulate the weather, rain, wind, cold, heat. He says to her, you witches have no idea the power you got. He douses the runes with the liquid as the storm gets worse. He then is able to separate the runes. The witch asks, are you going to kill her to the witch, or turn her over to the witch council, or are you going to kill her? He says no. Before he leaves the plane, he asks one of the flight attendants he would love to learn how she grew up in Safu. So after he separated the runes, because you're not supposed to just jam them together like that, okay? He separates the runes, puts them in a compartment bag, and the storm clears out. So he's walking out. He sees the stewardess. She has an accent. Okay, so he says, wait. Where's it at? She grew up in. She's amazed and says, how do you know I haven't had an accent in years? He says, you'd be surprised what you pick up. Okay, so now, Michael Caine. He is the 36th Dolan. So I'm going to refer to the Dolans as 36 and 37, so that way you know who I'm talking about. 36 Dolan is Michael Caine. Michael Caine is assigned to Calder. Okay, he's like an Alfred. He's the Alfred to Calder's Batman. Okay, 36. 36 narrates there was a truce. Witches could govern themselves if they followed one rule, that magic never be used against humans. Calder works for the Axe and Cross. The Axe and Cross was founded in AD 1211 in Macedonia. Pope Innocent III gave them a secret sigil to deny that they ever existed. 1231 was the year Calder first met. They tracked down the witch queen to go take her out. That was 1231, when the first battle with the witch queen. The headquarters is in a church called Saint Chrysostom. St. Chrysostom Church. Okay, it's the world's largest witch prison. All right. Okay. So the 36th Dolan goes to see Calder as a flight attendant walks out of his elevator. 36 Dolan, 30. I'll just say 36. 36 records Calder's history. He's his handler, confessor, and friend. 36 is retiring after 50 years. He gives him a German pen. Dolan tells Calder he's missing out and to find someone he trusts. The Order of the Axe and Cross referred to Calder as the weapon because he's the enforcer. All right. Witches see him and they run. 36 gives the 37th Dolan a briefing on his new assignment as Calder's new Dolan, played by Elijah Wood. Frodo. Okay. So this is where I'm going to be referring to 36 and 37. So, okay. 36 is being followed by a rogue warlock named Belial. Calder gets a call. The 36th Dolan died in his sleep the next day. 37 has been initiated and is branded with the axe and cross insignia on his forearm. 37, Elijah, he meets with Calder. Calder tells how he was there when it. Oh shit! Forest mass grave. Okay. So they meet up. Calder is telling a story of how he remembers when they built New York City. He says they found a mass grave of forgotten slaves. Says they filled the hole at night and kept building. There are shades of evil everywhere. Now we all know New York City is built on one huge mass grave of Black Indians, basically. So, okay. They go to 36, his office. Calder asks, how do you know when there's magic in the vicinity? 37 says, a witch's magic comes from 4 elements, fire, water, earth, and air. Applying the correct alchemical triggers will reveal its presence. Calder then discovers 3 dead flies and reveals a pentagram on the floor. The windows explode and the floor cracks open. There's a sigil in the window. Okay, here we go. Now, okay, there's a sigil in the window. It reveals the writings on the walls. A concealment spell was placed to make everything look normal. Calder says elemental magic is neutral at its root, neither good nor bad, but they're dealing with dark magic. There's a bloody fingerprint on the word death in 36's ledger. He then asks 37's hands. He asks to see his hands because he suspects everybody at this point. Calder gives him the Master Mason grip. Okay. Anyone go rewatch the movie as he pulls out his hands. He gives him the Master Mason grip. Okay. It's pretty obvious. 37's hands are burned. He says witches burned his house down when he was 5. His parents died. He said Calder walked through the flames, wrapped them in a blanket, and they jumped out of a window, out of a 2-story window. Calder discovers the missing pen he gave 36. They go to see Max Schlesinger. Max Schlesinger is an old school warlock. Okay, he's blind. He's blind for a reason. Max gave himself cataracts as a protection spell. It's a water-based protection spell to prevent witch council operatives from stealing his recipes from his mind. Now, he operates a cupcake factory. And what he does, he puts spells in the cupcakes. Okay, that's what he does. All right. Also, like all these witches have little jobs and gigs, things that they do. Okay. All right. So then, okay, Max is a 14th level warlock. Max snaps his fingers and butterflies scatter. Max is blind. Max sells mind-altering bugs and cupcakes. So all these butterflies. Okay. Calder asks him about Griffin Sandbane. He says it's rare and forbidden, used in necromancy. It's dark magic. Max tells Calder anyone who would use it would use such a herb is not afraid of Calder, which frightens Max. Okay. Max tells him of a man that came to see him and had an odor of arsenic and crab apples. Calder tells 37 arsenic was used in embalming during the Civil War. Whoever killed Dolan, whoever killed 36, probably lives in a funeral parlor. Okay, so the bad guy in question predates the Civil War. That's how far back the bad guy goes back. Okay, a little boy follows a trail of gummy bears leading to a gummy bear tree. Calder grabs the boy and the illusion disappears. Okay, the boy then, they're both being watched by Belial. The boy then leaves. Calder enters the building. He finds a little girl that quickly transforms into a man wielding a knife. Calder pins the man to a wall and then asks about 37 or 36. He then brings the man to the witch prison underneath the church. He brings the man to the witch council. He's accused of 36's murder. 36's pen was found in his place. This is Alec. Alec is the guy being tried for the murder. The man Alec confesses to killing 36, which he didn't. Calder says the cards, the witch warden, her name was, what's her name? Wait a minute. Bear with me. Glazer. Her name is Glazer. She's called the governess or the high arbiter of the witch council. So she's the head bitch in charge. Okay. So Glazer pulls the cards to see what their fate's going to be. He says she's wrong. The cards are wrong. Wait. Okay. Calder believes that. Yeah. Calder believes he's not the murderer. He casts a shape-shifting spell. The warden, the governess, then passes judgment and then awakens the sentinel to carry him off to witch prison. Calder then finds a fly on the shoulder of the warden. Calder goes to 36's body and reveals he's been cursed by a plague fly. They were created in the plague tree by the witch queen. The only way for Calder to break the curse is to kill the witch that cast it within 2 days. Dolan left a clue for Calder to follow. He says, remember your death. Calder goes to a witch's club to buy a memory potion. If he dies or gets injured in his memory, he can die or get injured in the real world. Calder then goes back to the night of 1231. Okay. He learns it's Belial. Calder then wakes up chained to the floor. He slips the handcuffs and engages Belial in a fight. Belial sets the place on fire. Belial escapes. Calder then rescues the bar owner, Chloe, from Belial. Chloe agrees to help Calder to make another memory potion. They go to her roommate's apartment and discover Miranda is dead. He consoles Chloe. Okay, so then they go to see Danique at a fashion show. Danique mentions that Calder knew Napoleon, Stalin, and Hitler. As they're walking through the fashion show, Chloe can see the models are witches that use glamour magic to hide their disfigurement. Now, where have we heard glamour magic before? The OG himself, Bobby Hemmett. What did he say about glamour? Okay, he said it's not the ego, it's the glamour that gets you in trouble, right? That you do your research on that one. Okay. So then Chloe notices something is wrong with the plant. Denis blows enchanted smoke in Calder's face. Chloe is restrained. Calder then sees his dead wife and daughter. Calder then takes out Danique's guards. Calder threatens to crush a stone linked to Denny's face, causing her pain. So there's a charm, a stone, a gem in Danique's necklace that she uses to beautify herself. Okay. She tells Belial she helped him get the burial dirt. Upon leaving, Chloe crushes the stone. Then Danique's face ages rapidly, and she begins to crack and peel, and she turns into a hag. Okay. So then Chloe reveals she's a dream walker. Belial hunts down Max and sends him to the shadows. Calder shows Chloe the history of Dreamwalkers. Dreamwalkers, they were the Witch Queen's assassins. They could enter your dreams and then turn them into nightmares. Chloe then asks Calder the names of his dead wife and child. Chloe then enters Calder's mind and sees the plague tree on fire. He retraced his steps from 1231. The other witch hunters find the queen's beating heart. But the Dolan at the time refused to destroy the heart because it would have killed Calder. The Dolan hid the queen's heart. The Dolans betrayed Calder. Calder interrogates 37. 37 says he swore an oath to keep the secret. They were afraid if they destroyed the heart, Calder would lose his immortality. 36 was tortured because he knew where the heart was and he was going to destroy it. 37 tells Calder 36 was going to destroy the heart to set him free. Belial has the heart and buries it next to Max. Max is strung up in a tree in a crucifix position. The roots grab a hold of Max and grow into a new plague tree, killing Max in the process. Calder then sets out to confront the queen. Calder finds Max's body inside the tree. The queen tells Calder he's different. Belial then jumps out to attack Calder. He shoots him with a shotgun. Calder then throws a knife into Belial's throat, killing him. The queen reveals to Calder the immortality was never his. It was hers. He just carried it for her. She says she is reborn. She emerges from the tree and then flees the scene. 36 recovers from the broken spell. It was Belial who cursed him. Okay. 36 admits they were wrong for keeping the secret. 36 then tells Calder he has to fight. Calder then begins to armor up. He grabs the Hexenbane. Calder is no longer immortal. She took it back. Chloe then joins in to help. 37 accompanies them. They go to the church to discover a plague tree has grown into the church. The witch council is dead. The queen is using the newly freed witches to chant as her means of creating a brand new plague tree. So the premise is the queen, one last trick up her sleeve is she can mind link all of the witches, and they all say there's one particular chant to help grow a plague tree. So once the plague tree is fully grown, then she can create the flies and then spread the black plague out into the world. Okay. Okay, yeah, she's linking their mind in the chain. Calder has to find the weakest link. Calder frees Alec. The warden her necklace activates the sentinel. Chloe has to dreamwalk into Alex's mind to break the chant. To stop the sentinel, Alex has to be put back into his cell, but they can't do that until Chloe breaks the spell in Alex's mind. Calder engages the sentinel. He pulls out the warden's necklace that activates it and crushes it, rendering the sentinel inoperable. Chloe is in hand-to-hand combat inside Alex's mind. She causes him to fall and break his neck in the dream, killing him in the real world. The chant is broken. Calder goes back for the queen, and they have a fight back and forth. Calder then activates the Hexenbane, so it's on fire, and he strikes the queen multiple times before he can finish her off. 37 shows up with a gun to Chloe's head. 37 says, "Release my queen." 37 says the witches were his parents. He was born without magic. He shoots Calder in the chest, injuring him because he's not immortal at this point. The queen uses Chloe to restart the chant as the black plague is released. 36 sees the plague coming from his apartment window. 37 then asks the queen to grant him the gift of magic. The queen says, "Clay cannot be turned into gold. Without magic, you're just a human." She then infects him with the plague and then kills him. Calder sees his wife and child. They tell him he must get up and save them. The wife says, "Go, my love, and fight." He then places the runes in the water, causing a thunderstorm. He grabs the Hexenbane and says, "By iron and fire," and throws the Hexenbane into her stomach as lightning hits the sword, electrocuting the queen and setting her on fire. She falls dead. The plague stops. Chloe is released. Calder is alive and his immortality has been restored. The queen's heart still beats. Chloe stops him from destroying the heart. She says, she says the world needs him. She needs him, and that she can trust him. She touches his hand, and Calder no longer serves the axe and cross. Another reason why she stopped him from killing the queen, she saw other entities waiting that are much stronger than the queen, waiting for her to die off. So if he'd have destroyed the heart, there'd have been much bigger, badder entities to jump in the mix, and she didn't want that because she knew they couldn't beat him. She couldn't beat them. Okay, so she convinced him to let her live, the heart live, to prevent the big badasses in the waiting in the wings to jump in. Okay, all right. Back at the apartment, Calder gives 36 back his pen and tells him he still needs him. Calder is now in possession of the Queen's heart. They drive off in his Aston Martin. The Queen's heart is heard beating in Calder's vault. End scene. There's your movie, The Last Witch Hunter. Yo, this got slept on. This got slept on so bad. This was a good little movie right here. And I feel bad I didn't get a chance to see this movie. Alex, that was for you, brother. I got you next week with Species. Don't you worry. So once again, I want to thank Alex for his generous donation for the bringing us tonight's sponsoring the movie breakdowns tonight. Also, if you have something you want me to break down, I will happily break it down for a fee, and you too can get your little sponsorship going on. So, with that being said, that's my movie breakdown for tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed it, learned something. Thank you to everybody that's in the chat. Send these crazy asses up in here. Kev, I see you, brother. Iron 5. Edward, what's happening? Liza Jean, these are Nay. Hey. Johnny be good. Elijah's working with Richard Stanley to make love. Yes, I know. I'm stoked about the Lovecraft stuff. I'm stoked about it. Sydney says, if I had to read my hand, this woman here, she said, what? If I had to read my handwriting, which looked like chicken scratch, I couldn't do it. No, my handwriting is like a doctor. It's beyond chicken scratch. It's child scratch. You know what I'm saying? It's toddler scratch. Lady Pat, hey. So, Teku, hey, I see you, brother. I see you. JJ, what's happening? Well, faces up in here. Okay, Lord Vel, Marty McFly. All right. I got everybody. Ryan, I got you. Yeah. Okay, so Marco, what's happening? All right. So that's my breakdown. I'm not gonna drag this out. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll do this again next week. Curly, I see you. What's happening? I should do a review on the first two classes. I see that. Y'all have no idea how long my list has grown since the last time I made a video about it. It's grown exponentially. I mean, it's ridiculous. So this is what I got lined up so far. I got Poltergeist, the first one, the original. I got Magic. I got to do Species, and two more lined up. So I'm not sure what those last two are going to be, but yeah. Parasite, man. Everybody's did everyone did the fuck out of Parasite. Ain't nothing I can add to that. That's been done to death at this point. So. But hey, I'm gonna get out of here. It's late. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. Holla. Peace. And